All right, so landed in about 12 feet of snow.
Yeah.
A lot colder than we expected, so I had to swap out, put some base layers on, and that's gonna be pretty important for being out here is, you know, having multiple layers. As it gets warmer in the day, you might have to shuck some. The last thing you want to do is sweat, so I've got wool underneath. That's probably the best thing that you can have. Even if it gets wet, it'll keep you warm. So wool base layer, and then I've got this outer soft shell pant. I swapped out for some thicker wool socks. And I've got these boots that are actually waterproof. They've got Gore-Tex. Foot care, as I'm sure you know from the military, is pretty important.
Yeah, foot care is critical. I mean, as far as rules of survival go, again, you know, just being an Army guy and doing a lot of hunting and growing up in the woods, I mean, it's always kind of been food, water, fire, shelter.
Yep.
Not necessarily in that order.
Right.
I think that switches and depends based on your environment. I mean,
If we're talking about pure survival, right? You got about 3 minutes that you can go without oxygen. So if you're breathing, that's a check plus. That's good.
Yeah,
if we're underwater or you're being attacked and someone's choking you to death, number one, you're not worried about being warm. You're not worried about food.
Right.
You got to get your airway open, right? You got about 3 hours that you can be exposed in the cold before you have to worry about hypothermia. So depending on circumstances, that shelter, that warmth, making a fire becomes the next priority.
Yeah.
Then you got about 3 days that you can go without any water. You know, within 3 days, if you haven't had any, you're done. And then after that, your concern is food. You know, 3 weeks is about the timeline you can go without eating. Now, should you push it that far? No, because being hungry, being thirsty, as we both know,
yeah,
makes everything else that much more difficult. You know, you should always be thinking forward and backwards,
right,
to those essentials, because again, you know, if you can barely walk 10 feet because of, you know, dehydration or exhaustion, well, the prospect of getting food is pretty much none. So you have to think ahead. Okay, I have 21 days before I drop dead, die of hunger, but I might want to start considering, once everything else is squared away, considering securing some food at that point.
And it also becomes about conservation of energy. It's very similar to what we do in fighting. You know, I mean, I don't want to blow a bunch of energy throwing, you know, useless strikes and punches and engaging in a grapple or holding onto a submission that I don't clearly have. Let it go, man. Move on. You're not getting anywhere. You're burning energy.
And that comes with training and experience. The only way to know if what you're doing is effective is having done that. And you know, okay, this isn't working, time to change tactics. It's the same thing with survival. If you're stomping up and down this mountain trying to hunt, you know, an elk with a knife, maybe, you know, experience would tell you that you're probably not going to be successful. You know, maybe you're better off foraging, or maybe you're better off booking it and getting back to civilization. I mean, trying to live out here and sustain yourself off of pine trees and snow, man, you're not lasting long. I mean, I haven't seen the first animal out here. It's the dead of winter. So
mission is, you know, going back to mission equipment, time and terrain, is get to the low ground.
You know, I always wonder, you don't see people doing this kind of stuff a lot. And the reason is, it's freaking hard.
It is hard.
Like this is legit. Like, this is super shitty. It's like, oh yeah, now I know why I don't do this every day.
Yeah, it's rough, but I mean, at the same time, you know, I mean, people don't fight either.
That's true.
I mean, there's no rite of passage in life anymore, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's like the quote from Fight Club, where how much can you know about yourself until you've been in a fight? You know, how much can you know about your ability to survive unless you've gone out and done it, you know?
Right.
You can read all the books. It's all speculation.